The Ilyushin Il-10 was a Soviet ground attack aircraft developed at the end of World War II by the Ilyushin Construction Bureau. It was also license-built in Czechoslovakia by Avia as the Avia B-33. Development. From the start of Eastern Front combat in World War II, the Soviet Air Force used the successful ground attack aircraft Ilyushin Il-10 Stermovik, powered by the Mikulin AM-38 inline engine. As the war progressed, the Soviets laid plans for that aircraft's successor. The main goal was to increase speed and maneuverability at low altitudes, mainly to evade small-caliber anti-aircraft artillery, which was the main threat for ground attack aircraft, and to remove some of the Il-10's faults. The most promising project was a modern, light and maneuverable close assault aircraft, the Sukhoi Su-6, developed by Pavel Sukhory's bureau from 1942. At the same time, Sergei Ilyushin developed a heavier aircraft, the BSH-M71, derived from the Il-10 design, on which it was partly based, to be powered by the prototype Tumansky M71 radial engine, which did not enter production. In 1943, Ilyushin started work on a new aircraft, Il-1, which was to be a two-seat heavily armored fighter interceptor, meant mainly for fighting enemy bombers and transports. The Il-1 was similar to the Il-10 design, but was more modern, compact, and powered with the new Mikulin engine, the AM-42. But the VVS gave up the idea of heavy armored fighters, due to the low speed, which was not enough to intercept modern bombers. As a result, Ilyushin decided to turn the Il-1 into a two-seat ground attack plane, with the designation changed to Il-10 in early 1944. At the time, Ilyushin also finished a prototype of a heavier ground attack plane, the Il-8, using the same engine, and more closely derived from the Il-2. It carried a higher payload, but had lower performance than the Il-10. Both types first flew in April 1944, the Il-10 proving greatly superior to the Il-8, which had poor handling. The Il-10 successfully passed trials in early June 1944. The third competitor was a new variant of the Sukhoi Su-6, also powered by the AM-42 engine. After comparative tests, the Il-10 was considered the winner and was chosen as the new ground attack plane, despite some opinions that the Su-6 was a better aircraft, notwithstanding inferior performance and payload, with better gun armament. Notably, the Su-6 prototype was tested with maximum payload, causing lowered performance, while the Il-10 was tested with normal payload. Some advantages of the Il-10 came from its technical similarity to the Il-2. Production. On the 23rd of August 1944, the Il-10 was ordered into serial production by decision of the State Defense Committee as a new ground attack plane. Its armament was initially similar to late-model Il-2S, with two 23mm VY-823 cannons and two SCAS machine guns in the wings, and a 12.7mm UBT machine gun for a rear gunner, and 400 kilograms, or a maximum 600 kilograms of bombs. Unlike the Il-2 and Su-6, it was not initially meant to carry rockets. Production of the Il-10 started in Kuybyshov's factories No. 1 and No. 18. The first production aircraft flew on the 27th of September 1944, and 99 aircraft were produced by the end of 1944. Early series aircraft showed teething problems, most notably engine faults and fires. Most problems were eliminated by 1945. Aircraft produced from April 1945 onwards could carry 4 unguided air-to-ground rockets. Aircraft produced from 1947 onwards were fitted with stronger armament, consisting of 4 23mm NS-23 cannons in the wings and a 20mm cannon for the rear gunner. Il-10 production ended in 1949, after a run of 4,600 aircraft. In the last 2 years, they were produced in Factory No. 64. Between 1945 and 1947, 280 UIL-2 or Il-10U trainer variants were produced. The rear gunner cockpit was replaced with a longer instructor's cockpit with dual controls. Its performance and construction were similar to the combat variant apart from armament, which was reduced to 2 cannons, 2 rockets, and a standard load of bombs. In 1951, the Czechoslovak firm RuthAS secured a license to make Il-10s with the designation B-33. The first one flew on the 26th of December 1951. Initially, their engines were Soviet-built. From 1952 onwards the engines were also produced in Czechoslovakia as the M42. Besides the combat variant, a Czechoslovak trainer variant also entered service under the designation CB-33. In total, 1,200 B-33s were built by 1956. In 1951, due to experience acquired during the Korean War, the Soviet Air Force decided that propeller ground attack aircraft might still be useful, and decided to renew Il-10 production in a modified variant, the Il-10M, which first flew on the 2nd of July 1951. It was a bit longer, with a wider wingspan, and larger control surfaces with a fin under the tail. 4 of the more recently developed Near-23 cannons were mounted in the wings, while the payload stayed the same, and newer navigation equipment was installed, giving partial all-weather capability. Speed decreased slightly, but handling improved. Between 1953 and 1954, 146 Il-10s were made, all but 10 in Rostov-on-Don's Factory No. 168. In total, 6,166 of all Il-10 variants were made, including those built under license. Trials of Il-10s mounted with more powerful AM-43 and AM-45 engines took place but proved unsuccessful. Ilyushin next designed a lighter close support aircraft, the Il-16, with improved performance and similar armament. It first flew on the 10th of June 1945. A short run entered production, but the project was cancelled in 1946 due to the AM-43 engine's unreliability. Design. Technical description: the airframe was a one-engine, two-seat monoplane, with a metal-covered frame. It was highly armored. The front part of the fuselage, with the cockpit, was a shell of armor plates 4 to 8 mm thick. The thickest 8 mm were under the engine. There was no armor above the engine. The front windshield was made of armor glass 64 mm thick. Also armored were the roof above the pilot, side window frames in the pilot's cab, the wall between crew seats, and the rear wall behind the cab. Total armor weight was 994 kilograms, including its attachment. The wing consisted of a central section, with 2 bomb bays, and 2 detachable outer panels. The undercarriage was retractable. The main wheels folded to the rear after rotating by 86 degrees. Early Il-10s had 2 23mm VY-823 autocannons and 2 7.62mm SCAS machine guns fixed in the wings, and a 12.7mm UBT machine gun in a rear gunner station Bu-8, with 150 rounds. The horizontal angle of the rear machine gun field of fire was 100 degrees. From 1947, the aircraft were armed with 4 NS-23 23mm cannons in the wings and 20mm B2OT cannon in a rear gunner station Bu-9. The IL-10M had 4 23mm near 23 cannons in wings and 20mm B2OEN cannon in a rear gunner station Bu-9M. Avia B-33 had 4 23mm NS-23RM cannons in wings and 20mm B2OET cannon in a rear gunner station Bu-9M. The normal bomber load was 400 kg, maximum load was 600 kg. This could be small fragmentation or anti-tank bomblets put in bomb bays, or 450 to 100 kg bombs in bomb bays and externally under wings, or 200 to 250 kg bombs attached under wings. Small bomblets were put directly on bomb bay floors, in piles. A typical load was 182 kg out 5 to 2 fragmentation bombs, or 144 PTAB2, 5 to 1, 5 anti-tank heat bombs. Apart from bombs, 4 unguided rockets RS-82 or RS-132 could be carried on rail launchers under wings. Avia B-33s were also fitted to carry other rocket types. Late Soviet aircraft could carry RO-82 and RO-132 tube launch. In the tail section was a DAG-10 launcher with 10 anti-aircraft or anti-personnel grenades AG-2. The Il-10 engine was a 12-cylinder inline V-engine Mikulin AM-42, liquid-cooled power, 1,770 horsepower continuous, takeoff power, 2,000 horsepower. 3-blade propeller AV5L24 of 3.6 meters diameter. 2 fuel tanks in the fuselage, upper 440L over engine ahead of the cockpit, and lower tank of 290L under the cockpit. The aircraft had a radio set and a camera AFA-1M in a rear section of the fuselage. Operational history. In October 1944, the Il-10 first entered service with training units in the Soviet Air Force. In January 1945, the first Il-10 combat unit entered service with the 78th Guards Assault Aviation Regiment, but it did not enter action due to unfinished training. However, 3 other Il-10 units managed to take part in the final combat actions of World War II in Europe. They were the 571st Assault Aviation Regiment, the 108th Guards Assault Aviation Regiment, and the 118th Guards Assault Aviation Regiment. About a dozen aircraft were destroyed by flak or engine breakdowns, but the Il-10 appeared to be a successful design. One was shot down by an FW-190 fighter, but a crew of the 118th Regiment shot down another FW-190 and probably damaged another. On the 10th of May 1945, the day after the official Soviet end of the war, there were 120 serviceable Il-10s in Soviet Air Force combat units, and 26 disabled ones. After the USSR re-entered the war against the Empire of Japan with the invasion of Manchuria from the 9th of August 1945, one Il-10 unit, the 26th Assault Aviation Regiment of the Pacific Navy Aviation, was used in combat in the Korean Peninsula, attacking Japanese ships in ration and rail transports. After the war, until the early 1950s, the Il-10 was a basic Soviet ground attack aircraft. It was withdrawn from service in 1956. At the same time, work on new jet-powered dedicated armored ground attack planes was cancelled, and the Soviets turned to multi-purpose fighter-bomber aviation. The Il-10 and its licensed variant, the Avia B-33, became a basic ground attack plane of the Warsaw Pact countries. From 1949 to 1959, the Polish Air Force used 120 Il-10s and 281 B-33s in Poland. The B-33 was modified to carry 400 L fuel tanks under its wings. From 1950 to 1960, Czechoslovakia used 86 Il-10s, including 6 Il-10s, and about 600 B-33s. From 1949 to 1956, the Hungarian Air Force used 159 Il-10s and B-33s. From 1950 to 1960, the Romanian Air Force used 14 Il-10s and 156 B-33s. Bulgaria also used these aircraft. In the late 1940s, 93 Il-10 and Il-10s were given to North Korea. They were then used in the 57th Assault Aviation Regiment during the early phase of the Korean War. They were initially used with success against the weak anti-aircraft defense of South Korean forces, but then they suffered heavy losses in encounters against the USAF fighters and were bombed on the ground themselves. After several weeks, about 20 remained. In the summer of 1950, North Korea received more aircraft from the USSR. The North Koreans claimed to sink a warship on the 22nd of August 1950 with Il-10s, but it was never confirmed. From 1950, Il-10s were used by the People's Republic of China in 2 regiments of an assault aviation division. They were used in combat during a conflict with the Republic of China over border islands in January 1955. They remained in service until 1972. From 1957, Yemen used 24 B-33s. Operators: Kingdom of Afghanistan. Afghan Air Force may have received some B-33 aircraft, but this is unconfirmed. Bulgaria. People's Republic of Bulgaria. Bulgarian Air Force received first Il-10 aircraft in 1947. Later, unknown number of B-33s were delivered. All were withdrawn in 1954. People's Republic of China. People's Liberation Army Air Force. From 1950 to 1952, 254 Il-10 attackers were imported, used by assault aviation divisions of PLAAF. They were used in combat during conflict with Taiwan on border islands in January 1955. The last 103 Il-10s retired in 1972. Czechoslovak Socialist Republic. Czechoslovak Air Force received about 80 Il-10s and 4 to 6 Il-10s in summer 1950. Additionally, about 600 of locally built B-33s were delivered. All were operated from 1950 through 1962. Hungary. People's Republic of Hungary. Hungarian Air Force received 159 Il-10 aircraft and operated it from 1949 through 1956. On retirement, 120 airframes were destroyed. The Il-10's Hungarian code name was Pada. Indonesia. Indonesian Air Force received unknown number B-33s from Poland in 1957. Aircraft were modified in Poland and could carry additional 300-liter fuel tank under fuselage. Due to poor handling, aircraft were returned to Poland. North Korea. Korean People's Air Force received about 50 Il-10s. Probably all were from World War II production. Poland. People's Republic of Poland. Polish Air Force received about 120 Il-10 aircraft and used it from February 1949 through 1959. Additionally, At least 281 B-33 aircraft were delivered between 1954 and 1956, but all were withdrawn in 1961 due to poor quality. Polish B-33 aircraft were modified to carry additional fuel. People's Republic of Romania. Romanian Air Force received 14 Il-10s and new Il-10s in 1950 and 1952. In 1953, 140 B-33s and 16 B-33s trainers were delivered and were used through 1960. Soviet Union. Soviet Air Force, Soviet Naval Aviation, Kingdom of Yemen. Yemen Air Force received 24 B-33 aircraft in 1957. Aircraft on display. Il-10 Central Air Force Museum at Munino, outside of Moscow, Russia. Chinese Aviation Museum in Beijing, China. Museum of the Polish Army in Warsaw, Poland. B-33 Lubuski Military Museum in Dronau, Poland. Polish Aviation Museum in Kraków, Poland. Prague Aviation Museum in Buli, Czech Republic. Specifications. Data from Ilyushin's Proliferous Shturmovik, Part 2. General characteristics. Crew. 2. Length 11.06 meters. Wingspan 11.06 meters. Height 4.18 meters. Wing area 30.00 square meters. Empty weight 4,680 kilograms. Gross weight 6,335 kilograms. Max takeoff weight 6,535 kilograms. Fuel capacity 747 L. Power plant 1 times Mikulan AM42 liquid-cooled V12 engine 1,320 kilowatts. Propellers 3-bladed AV5L24 3.60 meters diameter. Performance maximum speed 551 kilometers per hour at 2,800 meters, 507 kilometers per hour at sea level. Cruising speed 310 kilometers per hour at 500 meters. Range 800 kilometers at 500 meters. Service ceiling 5,500 meters. Time to altitude 5 minutes to 3,000 meters. Armament guns 2 times 23 mm VY-23 cannon and 2 times 7.62 mm SCAS machine guns in wing, a 4x23 mm NS-23 in wing, and 1 times 20 mm Berezin B-20 cannon, a 12.7 mm UBT machine gun in rear turret. Rockets 4 times RS-82 or RS-132 rockets. Bombs 6 times 50 kilograms. Bombs are 4 times 100 kilograms. Bombs are 2 times 250 kilograms. Bombs